Arkansas commit and son of Chad Morris, Chandler Morris, is in play for Oklahoma, and we're going to talk about it after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You got to help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I'm not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU-related, college football-related, sports-related. We have a good time. Today, we got to talk about 2020 quarterback commit to Arkansas, Chandler Morris, who is the son of recently fired Arkansas Razorbacks head coach Chad Morris. And seeing as he had committed to go play for his dad, and his dad is no longer the head coach, hey man, is the only dude left that hasn't really found a spot with this reopening of the spot at Arkansas for a head coach in play for Oklahoma. I also want to encourage you to sign up for my newsletter. I have been turning out some pretty good columns here of late. I've been getting some good replies back saying, hey RJ, these are really good. I'm glad I signed up for them. And if you do sign up for them between now and December 7th, you can get a chance to win this bad boy right here. It's a Hertz lamp or an OU lamp, depending on how you want to draw it up and what kind of fan you are. If you're an Alabama fan, you call it a Hertz lamp. If you are a Clemson fan, you probably re-gift it. If you're an Oklahoma fan, you know what to do with this. But it's my way of just trying to incentivize you signing up for this newsletter with your Hotmail, your Gmail if you feel that good about what I'm writing, but also just give me whatever you got. SBC.global, AOL, whatever trash email account you want to use, please use it. There's a link in the description below in this video where you can sign up for that newsletter. Now, Chandler Morris was one of just a handful of guys that received an offer from Lincoln Riley to play quarterback in the 2020 class. Notable guys receiving offers include Bryce Young, who committed to USC, then flipped his commitment to Alabama. That seemed like the guy that Lincoln Riley wanted, and after that commitment was posted last year in last July, it seemed like there was only one other guy for Lincoln Riley to recruit, and it was Chandler Morris. And then Chandler Morris did what most people thought he would do, which is go commit to play for his dad. And that was going to be a hard thing for him to pass up. But he is an outstanding quarterback. 5'10", about 175 pounds. Last year, threw for over 4,000 yards with 46 tutties. This year, he's averaging 318 yards passing per game at Highland Park. He is an outstanding quarterback and the son of an outstanding quarterback's coach. Say what you will about Chad Morris as a head coach, but when it comes to calling offensive football and grooming quarterbacks, he's been really, really good. I got a really close seat to watch that when he was the offensive coordinator at TU after coming up from Lake Travis, where all he did was build winners at quarterback, and then again at Clemson, fell off the rails at SMU, and then at Arkansas. I think he's going to get a job sooner rather than later as an offensive coordinator, and that's really the question. If Chad Morris secures an offensive coordinator position with an open 2020 quarterback spot, or that 2020 quarterback decides to decommit because he doesn't fit what Chad Morris does, you could see Chandler Morris ended up playing for his dad wherever that might be. Now, I think that Chad Morris is good enough to end up at a Power 5 conference as an offensive coordinator. I also think that he could end up in the MAC or the Sun Belt or one of those places to be an offensive coordinator. And then it's about whether or not Chandler Morris would choose to go play there or choose to go play at a place like Oklahoma. And if you check the board at OUinsider.com, a man, Brandon Drum, has quotes from Morris talking about, yes, Oklahoma has continued to recruit me. Now, if you want to know more, go to the VIP board, and if you have a membership, you already know what I'm talking about. But this is mostly to say, yes, Chandler Morris could end up playing at Oklahoma, could end up signing with Oklahoma in the early period. But right now, it's still wait and see because it's still so very fresh what's going on at Fayetteville right now. Hunter Yurachek is trying to figure out what direction he wants to go. There are a number of guys for which I know that Arkansas fans want, and I've made that video, so you should check that one out. Look, I also understand that there are guys that fit into what you're doing when you want to rebuild, and one of those guys might not be the son of the former head coach. There might be some animosity there, and there might not be. But even if there isn't, the public perception is that there will be. So when you're talking about recruiting a guy who is the son of a head coach and you're not the head coach, you really got to be sure that that's a guy you want. And that says a lot about what Lincoln Riley was doing, because he offered the kid knowing that he probably ends up playing for his dad, but you don't just extend quarterback offers, right? We could talk about committable offers versus non-committable offers. Every quarterback offer is decommittable, especially in a class where you don't have one. Now, I know that Lincoln Riley said a couple weeks he doesn't really want to talk about his strategy for the 2020 quarterback that doesn't exist, that may never exist, or what he's planning to do with that spot. Conventional wisdom, which in this case I agree with, is that you take a quarterback in every class. But Oklahoma didn't take one in 2015. Had this guy named Baker Mayfield that was on campus that, you didn't account for. It ended up being your starting quarterback and a Heisman Trophy winner. That sort of thing. That's not what's going on here. I mean, you could talk about perhaps Tanner Schaefer, but if you got Tanner Schaefer versus Chandler Morris, you might want to have the kid in the boat because it could get odd and weird at quarterback, not just with the portal, because I know that folks think that Lincoln Riley can go into the portal anytime he wants and pull out a Heisman candidate. It's what he's done here of late. But you also don't want to account for what happens if a kid gets hurt or if it just doesn't work out. Or if you have a Chris Robinson situation like Lincoln Riley did where he had to get rid of him, had to kick him off the team. And you want to make sure that you have safeguards in place because you always want 4 scholarship quarterbacks on campus. Always, right? Right now, at Oklahoma, Jalen Hurts, then it goes Tanner Mordecai, Spencer Rattler, Tanner Schaefer. Next year, you're going to have a brand new starting quarterback, no matter who it is, somebody who hasn't taken every snap with the team. And while I think there's going to be a battle between Tanner Mordecai and Spencer Rattler, most people, myself included, believe Rattler is going to win that battle. And then you got to remember you got the 2021 5-star in Brock Vandagriff already committed to this class. Would Chandler Morris want to sign up for that? Again, I think that it would be much more appealing for me to go play for my dad, especially if I've grown up playing in his offense and I've grown up finding out how he likes to play quarterbacks. And I know that I am a really good quarterback coming out of a really good school, Highland Park. And I know that I could go anywhere and compete, but if I could go to where my dad is and compete, that's another thing altogether. So, for instance, there are folks at Texas Christian that are calling for Sonny Cumbie's job. What happens if Chad and Morris were able to take that job? Would it be just a slam dunk that Chandler is just down the road and goes to Texas Christian? I mean, that's me just dreaming something up because that's part of what I do on this channel, but it's also to present options, right? Especially in this day and age where you can take more than one quarterback in a class. So that's on the table. Like Texas, they're going to take Hudson Card and Jaquindon Jackson this year. Last year, Arizona State took 3 quarterbacks, and you're always thinking that one guy doesn't work out. But if the quarterback is the son of the coordinator or the head coach and he's good, you know what's going to happen there. And sometimes it doesn't go well. Think Dan Hawkins at Colorado, right? We know that didn't work out, but that's a rare case. In most instances, head coaches are harder on their own kids than they are on the kids that play for them because they know that nepotism is something they're always going to have to combat. And clearly Chad Morris was willing to combat that and bringing his kid on in the 2020 class and taking that on not just through the recruiting cycle, but ostensibly all the way through Chandler's career. So I don't think that that's really going to be an issue. I think it's going to be really what does Chandler Morris want to do and who would he want to play for and how quickly or not quickly would he play there, because the odds of him being the starting quarterback at Oklahoma aren't very high, whereas he goes to a mid-major or a school that does not have a distinguished starter or a distinguished 5-star in the class, perhaps he could end up over there and be the dual threat guy that they need him to be. So I'm really interested to see how this one plays out. This is one of my favorite things to do on the channel, talk recruiting and talk about all these different moving pieces that go around it. All right, that is it for me. Deuces.